Whether you're working on the degree or you've just graduated, you're probably wondering what's next.
Well, don't worry. We were wondering exactly the same thing.
From auditions to young artist training programs and beyond, we've been there and we got your back.
This is Between the Notes, real talk for singers chasing the dream.
Welcome back to Between the Notes podcast. Please, as a reminder, follow us on all of our social medias and subscribe to this YouTube channel so that you're always caught up when we post new episodes. So today we're talking about how to submit your materials, right? Hopefully you've taken those headshots, you've created that bio, you've written your resume, you have done your recordings, and you've got all these things that represent who you are as an artist, and it's time to share them with the world.
Yes, let's press send. Who's it going to? Who's it going to?
It's a great question. I think, when we think about who are we submitting these things to, obviously we've got Yap Tracker submissions.
Right.
So when you have your membership with Yap Tracker, you're going through and sorting through which things are interesting to you within your age range and experience. And it's pretty self-explanatory on how to submit those materials. It's essentially you're uploading from your computer to their website. But from time to time, you might want to be sending an email, whether it might be like a upcoming school project. I think when a director announces auditions, I remember my opera theater, even in undergrad, he was like, bring your resume, bring your headshot. I want you to have your materials for us so that when you audition, we can look at them just like it is in the real world. I'm sure that if you email your whoever the director of the opera is at the university ahead of time, letting them know that here's my press materials as far as resume, bio, headshot, etc.
Right.
It just, again, it like levels up in a good way.
Right.
The other thing that we can do is, and this is a little trickier because it's usually based on recommendations, but I know all the time. I'm making recommendations for my students to different organizations that I feel like they'd be a good fit with. Sure. And, depending on who your voice teacher is, they may or may not have numerous relationships with people who are running different young artist training programs or running different opera companies or different symphony orchestras. And oftentimes, those people are asking us, hey, do you have a good young singer that would be good for this? We're putting together this Vaughan Williams Serenade to Music, and so we need 17 soloists, and I want to try to use different university students. Do you have anybody that would be good? Yeah, absolutely. Hey, take a look at this person, this person.
This happens way more than people expect.
Yeah.
It happens so often. And I think, if someone writes to me or asks my opinion, I will then talk to the student, see if they're available, and then I will write, kind of an email to both of them doing an introduction, as it were. And then this is the email that we're talking about crafting right now that you follow up with.
Yeah, so let's see if I can share this. Okay, so here is a little example of an email that I put together for Mr. Email.
I love it.
Dear Mr. Email, please allow me to take this moment to introduce myself. My name is Weston Hurt, and I have just finished my second year at Southwestern University as a vocal performance major, studying with Gerald Dolter. Mr. Dolter encouraged me to reach out to you regarding your upcoming auditions for future seasons with Opus Opera. If you could please let me know when you plan to hold auditions, I would love to sing for you. Please find my attached resume, bio, and link to my website. Thank you so much for your time and consideration. Best regards, Weston Hurt. Now listen, as you progress throughout your degrees and maybe you've finished your education and you're out there as an unmanaged singer, I actually would send cold emails all the time to different managers. But at that point, you've done so many different, ideally, you've done so many different young artist training programs. You've already completed a variety of different degrees or artist certificates or whatever it is that you've done. Yeah. And so in that cold email, instead of having just finished my second year at Southwestern University, maybe I hold degrees from the Juilliard School, Indiana University, and Southwestern University. I've completed young artist training programs at Wolf Trap Opera, Santa Fe Opera, the Aspen Music Festival and School. So then you're sort of including in the body of your email enough things that would make a manager go, oh, why isn't that person on my radar? Or I know exactly who you are. Thank you so much for reaching out,
Right.
But again, the idea is the same, is that you are marketing yourself. Because at the end of the day, until you have somebody sort of vying on your behalf, you are the CEO, CFO, director of marketing, everything, right?
And that could be that's kind of part of the fun of it. If you like to, I think as singers, we have to keep a lot of balls in the air up at the same time, or plates spinning, or however you want to
Oh,
think
yeah.
about it. And it's something that I always enjoyed. Of course, it can get to a point to where it's like, oh, that fell through the cracks. But as you said, you have to be your own best advocate at this point until you have somebody advocating for you who is getting paid to do it and incentivized by, their commission.
And I remember when I was a young singer, and I don't remember at what point, it was probably near the end of my graduate school degrees where I started seeing people who were working with managers that were still in school, though,
Mm-hmm.
at a higher level,
Yeah,
a degree plan or artist diploma or performance certificate or whatever it was.
sure.
And I would see how their materials were designed, created,
Yeah,
worded, how they worded
right.
their bios or how their headshots looked and who they were getting their headshots. And I just remember saying to myself, like, I want to make sure that my materials look like that.
Yeah, because to the eye of people in the industry, we can immediately tell the difference between someone who is, at that level, whether it be management or just, I shouldn't even say that level, maybe just the quality and the professionalism and the organization and the current trends, which is the whole point of why we're trying to help everybody out here with this, right?
And when you think about how this translates to the actual job, uh, showing up on time for rehearsals, and being on time is being early, right?
Yeah,
Making sure that you're consistent throughout the rehearsal process. All of these things are almost indicative of how your material, like these first
right.
impressions.
Right.
If
Oh,
you've got your stuff
indeed.
together and you look great and organized, chances are you're the type of person that's going to be consistent in how they do their work.
Which, even if you're not, because I know some artists tend not to be that way by nature, you have to acquire that skill. So make sure you join us next week for Between the Notes.
Thanks for hanging out with us on Between the Notes. Make sure you hit that subscribe button.
And join us next week for more behind the scenes stories, laughs, and operatic gold coming your way.